Living by the lake was supposed to be peaceful. That's why I bought a small cabin here, quiet mornings, calm water, and weekends spent fishing with my brothers. But ever since Karen became president of the HOA, peace became a luxury none of us could afford. She wasn't just a rule follower, she was a rule hunter. And unfortunately, this week, her sights were set directly on me and my brand new boat. It was a 22-foot fishing boat, shiny blue, clean, and perfectly legal by every state and lake regulation. But when Karen saw it, her eyes widened like she had discovered a hidden crime scene. She strutted down the dock with her usual posture, shoulders stiff, chin up, clipboard clutched tight like it was a holy scripture. "Excuse me," she announced loudly, loud enough for nearby neighbors to hear. "That vessel is far too large for this community. HOA guidelines clearly state that all resident watercraft must be of reasonable size." I stared at her for a moment. Reasonable size? Karen, the rule says no oversized commercial boats. Mine's a fishing boat. She flipped a page dramatically. It obstructs views, causes unnecessary noise, and frankly, doesn't blend with the peaceful aesthetic of the lake. "You mean your aesthetic?" I replied. Her lips tightened. "I'm issuing an official warning. If this boat is not relocated or removed within 72 hours, I'll have it towed." "That's not how lakes work," I said. "You can't tow a boat out of water." "Oh," she smirked. "You'd be surprised what I can arrange." That was the first time I realized she wasn't bluffing. Later that evening, I spotted her in her HOA Lake Preservation Club, a group of 4 equally dramatic mini Karens circling my dock, pointing, whispering, taking photos like paparazzi at a scandal. The next morning, I woke up to a bright orange sticker slapped across my boat. "Notice of removal, HOA directive." She didn't even wait the full 72 hours. I marched straight to her house. Her porch looked like a command center, flower pots lined with precision, security cameras angled in every direction, a sign that read, "This home is protected by the HOA president." She opened the door before I even knocked. "Good morning. If you're here to discuss your non-compliant boat, I've already scheduled a tow service for tomorrow." My jaw dropped. "Karen, you don't have that authority." "I have influence," she corrected smugly. "And the club fully supports me." That was when I decided. If Karen and her club thought they could bully me off my own lake, then it was time they learned who they were dealing with. And I wasn't going to fight them with warnings or paperwork. I had a better idea, something that would remove not just the sticker, but the entire club from my lake. Karen didn't waste a single minute. By sunrise the next morning, I heard voices echoing from the dock, sharp, commanding, and unmistakably Karen-like. When I stepped outside, coffee in hand, I saw her, HOA Lake Preservation Club, gathered in a tight circle around my boat, like they were preparing for a military mission. Karen stood at the center, holding her clipboard like a general holds a sword. "We move fast and decisively," she barked to her followers. "The tow team will anchor from the west side, attach straps, and carefully pull the vessel to the service ramp. Everyone stay alert. This resident is known to be uncooperative." Uncooperative? For owning my own boat? I walked down the dock slowly, not wanting to interrupt their theatrical planning session, but also deeply curious how far she'd go. A tow truck idled at the top of the hill, engine rumbling, while 2 confused-looking workers stood beside it with straps in their hands. Their expression said exactly what I was thinking. "This is ridiculous." "Morning," I said casually. "Planning to tow a boat off a lake." One of the workers shrugged. "Lady hired us. Said it'd be simple." "Simple," I repeated. "You know you'd have to drag it across 30 feet of dock and damage the hull." "Right." The man hesitated. Karen didn't. "We are acting within HOA authority," she snapped. "Proceed." The workers exchanged glances, not compliance, but caution. "Ma'am," the second guy said carefully, "this isn't legal unless the boat's blocking a public lane or emergency access." And it's not. Karen's eyes narrowed into laser beams. "The HOA policies override." "No, they don't." I cut in, stepping closer. "The lake is state property. HOA rules don't apply to watercraft here." Her jaw clenched so tightly I thought she might chip a tooth. She whipped out her clipboard and flipped through pages like a malfunctioning printer. Section 4B, Visual Obstruction, Community, Harmony, Property Value Impact. The tow workers slowly backed away. "Sorry, ma'am," the first one said, climbing back into the truck. We're not touching that. Call a marine specialist. Marine specialist? She gasped, insulted. Yup, I said. And they'll tell you the same thing. As the tow truck drove away, the HOA Lake Preservation Club looked defeated. Karen, however, refused to accept reality. Her nostrils flared, her shoulders stiffened, and her voice sharpened. This, she hissed, isn't over. If I cannot remove your boat by land, I will regulate your activities by water. I raised an eyebrow, meaning she didn't answer. Instead, she stormed off with her clipboard held high, like she was marching into battle. But I already had a plan forming. If she wanted to escalate, fine. She had no idea what was coming. 2 days passed, and for a moment, it felt like Karen had finally retreated. No early morning shouting, no new warnings, no cameras pointed directly at my dock, just silence. But with Karen, silence never meant surrender, it meant plotting. On the third morning, I found out exactly what she'd been planning. I stepped onto the deck to a bizarre sight. Karen and her Lake Preservation Club, paddling toward the center of the lake in matching neon life vests, waving laminated papers above their heads, like they were delivering subpoenas. To the fish, I grabbed my binoculars. There she was, standing in her canoe, wobbling dangerously, yelling commands like she was the captain of a battleship. Attention, all residents. Her voice echoed across the water. The HOA is hereby enforcing new lake conduct. Regulations effective immediately. I felt my eyebrow twitch. Here we go. I walked down to the dock just as Karen paddled closer, her club members struggling behind, her in 2 kayaks that looked like they hadn't touched water since the 90s. Karen held up a freshly printed rule sheet. Starting today, she declared, all motorized crafts are restricted between the hours of 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. Additionally, all boats exceeding 18 feet in length may only operate with HOA supervision. I blinked. Supervision? As in you? Of course me, she replied proudly. I will personally approve all lake activity schedules. I couldn't help but laugh. Karen, this lake is state-owned. You can't make rules out here. And even if you could, an 18-foot limit? Half the residents have boats bigger than that. Her eyes sharpened. If they comply, they'll have no issues. But you, she pointed directly at me. Your vessel is a blatant violation. I heard paddling behind her. 2 more kayaks approaching. More club members. More printed rule sheets. More determination to ruin my week. That's when my idea kicked into gear. I reached into my tackle box and pulled out the envelope. I'd been preparing a certified copy of the state's lake usage law, highlighted and stapled with a friendly letter from the county ranger. I'd called the night. Karen tried to tow my boat. Karen, I said calmly, handing her the envelope. This is the official legal ruling. The HOA has 0 jurisdiction on the water. None. Not over motors. Not over length. Not over schedules. She snatched it open, eyes scanning frantically. Each line of legal text seemed to drain color from her face. Her club members gathered around, reading over her shoulders. This, she stuttered, this can't be right. It's very right, I replied. And then I delivered the final blow. Since the HOA has no authority here, you and your club have no right to enforce anything on this lake. Which means, you're all trespassing. The club froze. Karen's mouth opened, but no words came out. For the first time since she became president, Karen had no rule to stand on. Karen stood paralyzed, her neon life vest glowing like a warning sign as she reread the county letter again and again, hoping the words would magically rearrange in her favor. Behind her, her Lake Preservation Club hovered in their kayaks, whispering nervously, rocking side to side like uncertain ducklings. I decided it was time to end this once and for all. You see, I said calmly, the ranger I spoke to isn't just some random official. He manages water access, state regulations, and enforcement. And after hearing what you attempted, towing, scheduling boats, creating fake lake rules, he made something very clear. Karen looked up, eyes tight and defensive. What did he say? That any unauthorized party trying to regulate or restrict public water use, I paused, letting the tension build, is subject to immediate removal from the lake. Her club collectively gasped. I continued, and since he can't be here today, he asked me to inform you, politely, that your HOA lake regulations are invalid, meaning you and your club need to exit the water. Now, Karen's lips pinched, trembling with rage. This is harassment. We are conducting community oversight. No, I said, pointing toward the houses along the shore. You're blocking everyone else from enjoying the lake. And they're watching. Because yes, at least a dozen neighbors had gathered on decks and balconies, watching the drama unfold. Some were filming, others waving, a few giving me silent thumbs-ups. A voice called out from a porch. "Pack it up, Karen. The lake's not your kingdom." Another shouted, "Go home before you tip that canoe." Karen ignored them, though her canoe wobbled dangerously as frustration overtook balance. "This is a violation of my authority," she insisted. "On land. Maybe sometimes," I said. "On the lake? You have none." Then, with the gentlest nudge from a passing breeze, or maybe her own indignation, Karen's canoe tilted. Her arms flailed. Her clipboard flew, and with a loud splash that echoed like poetic justice, Karen toppled into the lake. Her club members scrambled toward her, paddles flapping, kayaks spinning awkwardly. One nearly capsized. Another ran into a floating buoy, and Karen's soaked hair slapped across her face like a curtain of defeat. She surfaced, sputtering. "This lake is disgusting. The HOA will hear about this." "The lake didn't push you," I said. "Gravity did." And the laughter from the shore made it clear. The community had chosen its side. Embarrassed, dripping, and defeated, Karen finally accepted reality. Her club helped her back to shore, each of them avoiding eye contact with me as they retreated like a disbanded army. That evening, the lake was quieter than ever, peaceful again, just the way it should be. My boat sat on the calm water, untouched, exactly where it belonged. Karen's reign over the lake was over. And from that day forward, the HOA never tried to control the water again.